goes all through this. I mean, the CIA, I did a lot of research on this. They have a way of erasing they got a way of erasing your total memory, but they got a way of erasing certain parts of your memory.
Okay.
Hypnotism plays into effect. I talked to the CIA guy, and he said, I was either drugged or hypnotized, and then I would wind up and I would be in the middle of the jungle, and I didn't know if it was Asia or if it was South America. And I said, well, why would they do that? He said, well, one, for my protection, two, so there would be no leaks. And I said, well, you were all right with it. And then he said, all right with it. Hell no, I wasn't. Would you? And I said, well, no, not me, but you knew what was coming. And he said, yeah, but I was never all right with it. And he said, years later, I started having migraine headaches, and I had somebody hypnotize me, and he said those memories came back. And he said, needless to say, I've never said a word about what happened. But, I've interviewed and interrogated hundreds of people. And I talked to this guy, and I've got to tell you that most of what he told me, I believe. And he says, Gary had a big financial problem. But you follow the money again. He had a financial problem. He didn't make all that much money. He left almost $2 million. And he lived in Santa Barbara, and he lived on the beach, and he had a great life, and he had all the toys, and he had a horse and a Corvette and a motorcycle, and threw big parties every weekend. And the money doesn't add up. The IRS had come after him for $3.5 million, and they got it down to $350,000. He paid it all off. I don't know how he did that. I've mined the information for 18 years. I got a hold of some stuff in a storage bin that had all of his financials and stuff in there, and I can't answer how he got that money. Now, talking to the CIA guy, he said sometimes they pay $1 million for one mission. And that would explain to me where the money came from.
Just recently, a book and a movie came out, The Writer with No Hands. Have you had a chance to see it and read it?
No, but we're working on no. I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah. But mine's completely different than that. And we're working on a movie deal right now. It probably won't be called The Case of Missing Screenwriter, but it's in play right this minute.
Okay, and also too that evening there was. Go ahead.
What you're talking about, The Writer with No Hands, that's a whole movie. Is about what that boils down to. This we're talking about, it's a legitimate studio.
Okay, but I'm saying like his version, Alfred's version of the story. What do you make of his version of the theory? His theory on the case.
Some of it is just impossible. It just didn't happen that way.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, but it's not logical. It didn't happen. His story is more about his domestic problems with him and his wife and his kids. And that's what the story's about. It's about him more than it's about Gary DeVore.
Right. What do you make of it? Now, there was a report of some roadblocks on the road that night when DeVore was driving back home.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, that there were roadblocks, that the police had set up, the highway patrol had set up roadblocks that night as he was driving home.
Totally erroneous.
Oh, really?
Totally erroneous. What happened was it was a freeway, and they'd shut. There was a report of an armed robbery, and they shut half the freeway down, but not the part that Gary would have been going on. That was never shut down. And plus the fact Gary didn't go that way. You got to understand something. There was over 350 miles on his speedometer that shouldn't have been on there. He was known to have actually done work at Fort Huachuca in Arizona, which is a top secret place. And there was enough miles to go there. There was a ping off his phone in Nogales, which is very close to Fort Huachuca. But as far as the freeway being closed, It was the other side of the freeway. If he was going that way, which I contend he was not, it wouldn't have bothered him at all. He wouldn't have even slowed up.
Okay, great.
I have
this
book. This book is on ebook. As I said, you can get it on ebook. The printed version won't be out till the end of the summer. But this stuff you can't, Ed. You can't make this stuff up. Nobody's got an imagination like this. And every time I thought I had an answer, I had 3 more questions. And that's why I say I take the reader right with me and let them make their own conclusions at the end. They will make that conclusion, but it's a hell of a mystery, let me tell you.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Don Crutchfield, we're out of time. Thank you so much. I got to have you back.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. Okay, PI4stars.com, and the different books. One is A Case of the Missing Screenwriter, which we were just discussing right now, Confessions of a Hollywood PI, and Protect Yourselves at All Time. Don Crutchfield, thank you so much.